Raul Ramirez of the Catch Wrestling Alliance, where we help you to elevate your grappling, and together we keep real wrestling alive. So, thank you very much for listening and watching. We're all over, like on Twitch, YouTube. We're hopefully on every podcast platform, I think. Keep finding more and more that have like their own way where you have to like insert your information and then they'll put your podcast up there. But anyway, we should be on most. Um, but anyway, so let's go ahead and get through the announcements and stuff. So the quarter is ending for UCLA. We got one more week of instruction before they go on their winter break. But right after that, we should have a few catch wrestling matches at Fight Science MMA. So we'll probably have a mix of some of the UCLA students this time as well, competing as well as a lot of the MMA students and also people from the Los Angeles area in general. So if you want to compete in a catch wrestling match, send us a message because quite often, actually, what happens all the time is that we'll have catch wrestling matches and we'll announce it, of course, and then people would be like, how come I didn't, or like, how come you didn't, whatever, have some sign up? And yeah, we, even this past time we did, even the management at the Fight Science MMA was reaching out to people. We had people from a few schools in the Los Angeles area. So you really don't have an excuse. So don't even comment that kind of stuff because, again, here we are before the event announcing it. So if you want to have a match, then reach out so we can get you on the roster so you can compete. So no excuses. Just reach out. So you can do that through pretty much any one of our like social media platforms like Instagram or whatever. I think Instagram has like a way to email directly. I think that's on our profile page. Facebook, you can also message as well on our profile, Catch Wrestling Alliance. So pretty easy to get in contact with us. If you want to train, again, even though UCLA will be on their winter break, we'll still be at Fight Science MMA here in Los Angeles. You can always come train. If you're not in the LA area, if you're on the East Coast, again, train with John Strickland on the East Coast. His organization is called American Hook Wrestling. You can find them easily on Facebook. You can also train with us virtually. So online, we have a really good group of people training on there from different states and different countries. That is through our website, catchwrestlingalliance.com. You can find our CWA Academy on there. Also, if you want to support us in any way, support us through and not, if you want to support us and not necessarily be a student, you can support us through our YouTube channel, through our channel memberships. But beyond that, we definitely want to make sure that any contribution you make really just goes into like having more events, having more training opportunities for people so we can really keep this sport alive. It's such a great sport. So I'm happy that you all appreciate it. So you keep watching, and makes me feel great, makes all the students get better at wrestling and stuff. So we're having a lot of great success with students just getting better and better. So all your support is appreciated, and as you can see, it goes back into having more events and stuff. So if you don't want to become a student, feel free to join our channel, and that's through our YouTube channel. Usually if you just go to our YouTube channel page, like our homepage, you'll see a button that says join, and so there's a few different membership tiers there that are from really basic to a few more dollars per month, and we have different perks and stuff. So go ahead and check that out. Much appreciated. Okay, so let's go and get to the subject at hand. So everyone's talking about these different artificial intelligence things like ChatGPT, and Google has their own version called Bard. And so through theirs, I asked it what was exciting about catch wrestling, or what makes catch wrestling exciting, and I thought you might be interested in what it came up with. So actually, I didn't even, 'cause, sometimes I don't know if you played with these things, but um, it can give you a few different options, or like a few different drafts and stuff. So this was actually the very first draft. So the first thing that Google Bard came up with um, to describe what makes catch wrestling exciting. Uh, let's go ahead and just share with you. So it has, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It gave me 5 things, or 5 aspects. So let's go do the first one. Okay, so catch wrestling is a dynamic and actually, catch wrestling is dynamic and unpredictable in nature. So it is a dynamic and unpredictable sport, as there are a wide variety of submissions and pins that can be used to win a match. This means there is always the potential of a sudden and dramatic finish, which keeps fans on the edge of their seats. All right, what do you think about that? Yeah, feel free to comment. Um, uh, if you are watching live, go ahead and comment or whatever. But yeah, I think we've even seen, so like, not only in the matches we had a few weeks ago here in Los Angeles, but the Snake Pit Wigan also had their championships a few weeks ago as well too. And one of our good buddies, I want to see if we can get him back on. I think a lot of people really liked the interview that we did with Robbie Ward. He was the champion last year. He competed again this year, and he had a very, very exciting match that is up on YouTube. I should probably look up the link, because actually they just started posting some of the matches, and Robbie had this really great match where he was using the double wrist lock to not only keep him out of a bad situation, but reverse reverse a bad situation so he can get back on top. I forgot the name of the person he was having a match against. Maybe I'll try to find it and then maybe link it into our like the description box below. But it was a fantastic match. So this kind of gives the whole idea of catch wrestling, where a lot of these, it's not just like regular amateur wrestling where like people can win by points, or sometimes they'll win by pins, but you don't worry about takedowns. You don't worry about a lot of the different things that are of concern in amateur wrestling. Catch wrestling is much more dynamic than that because of the different wrestling holds that are legal, right? Which in amateur wrestling, like the double wrist lock, is now completely illegal. So, all right, so let's get to the next point. Okay, combination of pins and submissions. All right, pins and submissions are both fundamental parts of catch wrestling, and they each add a different kind of excitement to the sport. Pins create a sense of urgency and explosiveness, while submissions provide a more technical and strategic element. The combination of these two win conditions make catch wrestling a very well-rounded and exciting sport. Amen, Google Bard. I think that kind of sums it up pretty well, where it's like you have these two dynamics going, the whole pin aspect and the whole submission aspect. So what that means is that, like, yeah, you cannot just linger on your back. I think that's been a huge complaint that people have had over the years with gi jiu-jitsu competitions, where you kind of just hang on to each other, and since there are no pins, people will just kind of linger, like one person they're on top of each other, and they'll just kind of linger there for a while. But since there are pins in catch wrestling, it's more dynamic. People are having to fight to get out of a possible pin or potential pin situation, and then the person on top maybe can set up a counter submission hold, or the person on bottom can set up a counter submission hold as they try to escape. So it's very, very exciting in that way. All right. Let's see the next one. Open and adaptable nature. So, catch wrestling is an open and adaptable sport, which means that there is no one single correct way to wrestle. This allows wrestlers to be creative and develop their own unique styles, which make the sport even more exciting to watch. So, if you agree, let me know. I think this is the thing. Um, so there wasn't just one catch wrestling school in Lancashire. So there were several, and they had their own rivalries. And um, one of the big things, or the big stories that not only Roy Wood would tell, but even Billy Robinson would talk about, like one of their idols, one of the best, the consensus best wrestler of Wigan, Billy Joyce. So when he had a match against, well, the people who were known as the Belshaw, one of the Belshaw brothers, right? So that was like a rival school, and um, everyone would just assume that Billy Joyce would win because he was just so good. But they, like uh, the Belshaw brother was able to get a really great counter submission hold from the defense position. I won't go into too many of the details about it because it'd just be weird to describe. But I think this shows where it's like you might have like a dominant wrestler who's just everyone knows how great he is, but there's always that chance that he can get submitted or even pinned, right? So it's all catch wrestling has always been dynamic in that way that people can like find something exciting about it because it's so unpredictable, and the action is like it can be so explosive because you can have like how Google Bard put it, where it's like open and adaptable. So you can have these different schools. Still, all of them would probably be great at wrestling, just in general, but they can have their own twist on things. So that would make this competition just really fun and exciting to watch. All right, point number 4, according to Google Bard. All right, so that's their AI system. Okay, so it says rich history and tradition. Catch wrestling has a long, rich history. This history and tradition give the sport a sense of legitimacy and excitement, as fans can appreciate the fact that they are watching a sport that has been around for centuries. So that's a great point. So I'll tell you one thing that happened when I competed at the first kind of modern catch wrestling event that Wigan like organized back was like many years ago, probably close to I don't know, over was it 6 7 years ago or whatever. So this was held at Robin Park in the greater Manchester area near Wigan, and there were quite a few people, older people, who were in attendance to watch the catch wrestling matches. And after all the matches were done, one of the comments that several of the older people had or was that they felt happy to see real wrestling happen again in England, right? So many of these older people remember matches that looked like catch wrestling. Basically they were used to watching catch wrestling when they were a kid, and then it was great to see it again. So we know that this has been in existence for a very long time. We know that there were so many holds that you just don't see nowadays because they're illegal in freestyle wrestling. Like that would be the amateur style that they have in the United States. Even our amateur style, folk style wrestling, it has barred all these wrestling holds that are potentially dangerous. So older people who might have grown up seeing a kind of a different, more dynamic version of amateur wrestling, they're nowadays they're not seeing it, and so when they see it again, it can be nostalgic, and they comment that it's great for them to see it again. So that was actually really one of the coolest things about that day, getting the feedback it was almost in a way, it's like, yeah, actually, I didn't even mention for the longest time. Yeah, I had a match and I won, but it's like that's not the thing I was thinking about. Like winning wasn't the thing I was thinking about. It was like all these people who grew up watching it, like just being so excited about seeing it again. So I've always taken the stance where it's just like win or lose, catch wrestling wins, right? So whether I win or lose, but so I didn't really care if I won or lost. It's great that I won and I got a big trophy. I don't know if maybe, I've shared the picture many times with myself and Roy Wood handing me the trophy for winning and all that. So great memory, but it's like the way people react is like the best memory, right? So that was really, really cool to be a part of that. Okay, so the fifth and final point that Google Bard AI thinks about catch wrestling. So emphasis on conditioning and athleticism. Okay. Catch wrestlers are some of the most conditioned and athletic athletes in the world. This is because catch wrestling is a very demanding sport that requires both strength and endurance. The high level of athleticism of catch wrestlers make the sport even more exciting to watch. Yes, if you ever trained in Wigan, if you ever get the chance to train in Wigan, that is like the aspect that Coach Roy Wood really like emphasizes. So you will do a lot of strength and conditioning exercises when you're there. It can be a mix of like different like things like burpees or what they call star jumps and all kinds of endurance kind of like strength and conditioning stuff, which if you are training to be a professional grappler, professional catch wrestler or whatever, you definitely need to be taking the time to do the strength and conditioning. Not only does it make you like last in like these longer matches, it will help prevent injury. So you got to be doing all the different things like the strength training, the cardio stuff, the flexibility stuff. Quite often you'll find out if there's a deficit, right? Because if you're not stretching, you're not taking the time to do the stretching, then you're gonna like pull that hamstring or do something that's like really like stretching or lack of flexibility related, lack of range of motion related. You'll find out what your weakness is, right? Um, so you got to be doing this big mix of things besides just doing the wrestling. It's kind of become like so well known in athletics that you can't just rely on only doing the wrestling, only doing the sport is just not enough. Every sport knows that. We in the United States we have this thing called the National Strength and Conditioning Association. They do tons of research on like what are the best practices, and even being in athletics at UCLA too. Like I know that uh, say like for the different sports, they've made they'll make packages or like packets where the like say if you're a sport like a gymnast or in tennis or whatever, it's like they will make different packets showing like what are the better exercises and strength and conditioning protocols for you to do, like especially if the students are going home for summer break or whatever, so they won't necessarily be around campus, stuff that they can do on their own at home, wherever home is for them. So you got to be doing these other things to make yourself a well-rounded athlete. So you got to be doing these things to be able to push through these longer matches. So like these 10-20 minute matches like that we have in catch wrestling competitions, and that has to be there, right? All right, so Google Bard goes on to summarize here. The overall, catch wrestling is an exciting and dynamic sport that is sure to appeal to fans of all ages. If you are looking for a sport that is both exciting and challenging, then catch wrestling is definitely worth checking out. All right, so that's like short and sweet, right? Like it was kind of cool to just put in a prompt and then like to get something really, really nice and like concise that pretty much encapsulates the whole idea of what goes into making catch wrestling so exciting, but it kind of gives you an idea of what you got to do as an athlete to participate and make your matches exciting. Feel free to let me know your thoughts, write a comment. Actually, we have one here from Taquero Man 91. Did you catch wrestling world championship in Wigan? Fun scraps. It's a not. I think you mean like did I watch? Yeah, I watched some, and so yeah. Bobby sent me one, and seen some clips of other ones. So yeah. It's great, especially if the people are better at wrestling. If it's not necessarily just like a jiu-jitsu person that gets pinned easily. Um, yeah, so uh, yeah, I recommend going to check them out. Um, yeah, okay, so you, Takeru Man, clarify. Yeah, did you watch? Yeah. So let me know what you thought. I think you thought they were pretty fun to watch as well. Hopefully, you liked our recent matches. We'll try to get some more up. This not more up. I think we'll have some more matches probably in a few weeks. So keep an eye out. Yeah, so hopefully those ones are exciting. We got a lot of people who are really good at wrestling, you know, transitioning into catch wrestling, which is great. And it's great to see like that. That's what makes it really exciting when you see people who are really good at wrestling, and that goes back to the whole dynamic that Google Bard talked about, where it's like you can't just lay on your back, which has been like a big complaint about like gi jiu-jitsu in particular. No gi for some reason because you'll still see a lot more movement and stuff even if someone is on their back. They'll still be it's almost like there's still more of a sense of urgency in a way in no gi. So I think that's why you don't really hear that complaint as much. And like also too, like if you like in MMA where it's like if someone's on top and the other person's on their back, I think that there's that whole sense of urgency where you can be ground and pounded. So there's like movement going on, right? So I think that's why like that sense of urgency makes catch wrestling more exciting, MMA more exciting, even no-gi, jiu-jitsu more exciting. But that's why you'll have like the complaints about gi jiu-jitsu. Takeru Man 91. Do you think at some point catch wrestling could recruit grapplers across the world? Yeah, I mean that's what's going on. Like say even in Wigan, when I was competing there, I had matches from not only Brits, but like one of my matches was against a really great wrestler from Finland. Um, and Germany. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on. Especially even in the United States, we're having people coming from different states as well. We've had matches also in Singapore. So yeah, definitely. A lot of times it's just about someone finding out about it, really liking what catch wrestling is, or knowing about their history and stuff. So that's going to be like what attracts people. So yeah, of course. Taquero Man. There were great matches. Got the full pay-per-view, worth every penny. Taquero Man. I know they just posted the main event on their YouTube channel. I hope they would recruit sumo fighters, even Mongolian wrestlers. Yeah. That's. I'm sure Mongolians would definitely be game, right? They love wrestling. So yeah, the like Mongolians, they have like several styles of well, they have like a traditional style, but you'll see them competing in sumo wrestling and doing very very well in professional sumo wrestling. Um, I've seen them even send teams to do like the amateur sumo wrestling competitions, like in a very very serious way. So you'll see them also in MMA, like in one championship. So, but there'll be the fighters that come with like more of a wrestling background, like a so it's yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah. So yeah, and that's also another aspect of catch wrestling that even Google Bard made that was just like it's catch wrestling because it has like the wrestling aspect into it, but it still has like a fluid and adaptive nature to it. So that's what really makes it exciting. Yeah, but one thing about pay-per-view that I want to say, it's like I really don't think catch wrestling organizations should be having pay-per-views. It's like this is one example that a lot of people in sports talk about, where even like fights like boxing and MMA having pay-per-views, it's like it almost uh, like it doesn't it makes it a separate kind of thing where you're never going to see the Super Bowl in pay-per-view, right? You're never going to see the NBA finals in pay-per-view. You're never going to see baseball in pay-per-view, because that's kind of like the distinction. You can agree or not, so you can put your 2 cents out, but legitimate sports are not on pay-per-view. So it's unfortunate that like boxing isn't like free for everyone to watch, or MMA isn't necessarily free for everyone to watch, at least UFC. So it's like you will see these other organizations making the events free for people to watch. And in my opinion, that legitimizes the sports. So if it's like pay-per-view, no, I don't think that's really the way to go. So we're still going to have um, we're going to post everything on our YouTube channel, so it's free for everyone to watch, and I think that will help really build it up and legitimize it. Taquero man, do I know any history regarding the French and Belgian roots of catch wrestling and lucha libre in Mexico, when Mexico was part of France under Maximiliano? So yeah, actually, I did a podcast about it, where basically, yeah, when the French were dominating, and well, French government. So this wasn't wrestling, but the the what's called the French wrestling style, which is now called Greco-Roman, that was kind of introduced, and you had some Mexican wrestlers who were good at it, and that was kind of the start of some of like the like professional matches that you would see. So plenty of people would go around to watch these matches, but then you see later on like this influx of the predetermined like professional wrestling that kind of washes over the area from the United States, Britain to the United States, going all down to South America. And actually, I wanted to show recently, because there's been some documentaries about it. One of my friends went to Bolivia, because you have a lot of the Native American women there, the Native Bolivian women, who really took to the professional wrestling down there. And I believe they call it cachican, which is their version or their way of saying catch as catch can. When the Brits went down there to mine, so they took their professional wrestling down there. And so the lucha libre has a little bit less of that French influence, because the Mexicans like kicked out the French pretty quickly out of their country. So you did have a little bit of the initial impression of what's it called, the French wrestling, the Greco-Roman. You had that impression first, but then later the wave of predetermined pro wrestling then just really took over. Then you had like someone really trying to put the mask on, right? And then all of a sudden wearing masks became like really popular. So then that really stuck in Mexico. Um, so that's kind of how, in a nutshell, like how lucha libre in Mexico kind of evolved. But yeah, so it doesn't necessarily have like a full on like catch wrestling route. It would be like the professional wrestling influence that dominated. So you can have some Mexican wrestler, like the lucha libre wrestlers, who might know more like techniques and stuff, like catch wrestling techniques, but it's still like professional wrestling, like the predetermined version. Um, let me see. Who was the first female catch wrestler? That I am not sure. I'm not sure who that was, but if you know, let me know. Because I've seen plenty of different women over time doing stuff. Actually, we had a here in Los Angeles. We had an exhibit. Um, it was still kind of. I think it was probably a little bit later on, like maybe mid 1900s. Well, we had a big theater here in Los Angeles that had a lot of the pro wrestling matches. So this is where when people talk about Los Angeles catch wrestling history, you'll have them talk about Gene LaBelle, judo Gene LaBelle, as a boy, working at the theater here, learning some pro wrestling from the wrestlers here, and we also had women competing, and so there was a big exhibit of several of these women at one of our local museums. It was the I think Latino Heritage Museum in downtown Los Angeles, where they had even like magazine clippings, photographs, costumes that a lot of these people wore. That might still be going on, but yeah, they had several women that they showcased. So, but unfortunately, I don't remember all the names, and um, so yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe Google's AI could tell us, right, who was the first female catch wrestler. Yeah, maybe. Let's see. I'll have to give. I'll look it up. I'll yeah. All right. So yeah, do you have any more questions, Takeru Man, or anybody else? Feel free to ask. But the main thing is that like catch wrestling or AI did a pretty good breakdown. Give us 5 points as to what makes catch wrestling so exciting. So let me go ahead and just say the 5 things. So catch wrestling has a dynamic and unpredictable nature. Number two, a combination of pins and submissions make catch wrestling exciting. Number three, catch wrestling has an open and adaptable nature. Number four, catch wrestling has a rich history and tradition. So then people feel like they're watching something really legitimate. Right. Number five, catch wrestling has an emphasis, or catch wrestling emphasizes the conditioning and athleticism. So yeah, you'll have it takes a lot to um, like do well in a grappling match or a catch wrestling match. So you gotta put in a lot of work, a lot of strength conditioning. Takeru Man, other than Lincoln and Teddy Roosevelt, did any other world leaders do catch wrestling? I don't think Lincoln really did catch wrestling. I think he did a different version of wrestling. I know that he's often misattributed as a catch wrestler, but I think he was a little too. I think there was another style that was really popular uh, in his time in his region. But yeah, beyond like say like especially after Teddy Roosevelt, you're gonna start getting into the whole pro wrestling era. So then you'll have like the whole split between amateur and pro there. So uh, any leaders who are attributed, or politicians who are attributed to having done wrestling, a lot of times it will be like amateur. So like folk style, maybe freestyle. So that would be pretty much it, especially like nowadays. All right. So hopefully that was a pretty good kind of breakdown by AI, right? So let's hopefully it gives you a good idea of it, and hopefully it makes you more interested in not only like learning catch wrestling or maybe even wanting to watch catch wrestling. So like I said, we'll continue to have more matches. If you want to support us, please support us through our YouTube channel, or if you want to learn, you can learn online through our CWA Academy on our website. Takeru Man, what is the name of the female documentary? I don't know the name, but I think it was on Vice. I think it was so you can even go to their YouTube channel. You can look up. They're called Cholitas. They're Cholitas. So maybe you can look at Vice Cholita documentary. That's CHOLITA. Or you can look up Bolivian women wrestling. I'm sure you can definitely find it on YouTube for free, right? So it makes it legitimate. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, they do it. So you can see them doing all these pro wrestling moves, like jumping off the ropes in their traditional dresses and stuff. It's pretty fun. And we have some footage that a friend of ours just sent, who was in Bolivia like last week. So maybe I'll put some up so you can see, like, kind of like how you were asking about how lucha libre kind of evolved. You can kind of see this influence of professional wrestling as it swept across the our continent, right, and how it affected like a lot of the people, including like the indigenous women of Bolivia. So yeah, well, maybe I'll share some of it, because like my friend got some footage of them practicing before the show, and it's pretty cool. All right, so I want to thank everyone for watching and your support. And if you want to have a match, feel free to message us, so we can kind of get you on the roster, so we know that you'll be there, and we'll try to find an opponent for you. So feel free to contact us through our Facebook page or our Instagram. I think those are probably the easiest ways. So hope to see you there, or hopefully you can just enjoy catch wrestling in any way you can. All right. So, we're here to help you to elevate your grappling, and then together we keep real wrestling alive.